Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, and I'm going to help you sing and perform more like the top artists around the world. I'm a professional voice teacher, performance coach, and opera stage director. I've helped thousands of singers around the world learn the techniques and methods that got the top singers to where they are. Let's talk about what makes IU's performance of Blueming so awesome. Here we go.
뭐해라는 두 글자야 네가 보고 싶어 날 속 맘을 담아 이 멈추고 나가나 속에 달라지는 내 미묘한 심리를 알까 아니 바쁘지 않아 nothing 나나 잠들어 있지 않아 insomnia 지금 다른 사람과
Okay, so there's a few things right off the bat here that I want to talk about. First and foremost, you'll notice here in these close-ups, the corners of her lips kind of tuck up here. They kind of have this upturn in them. This upturn of the lips, this kind of tucked in lip thing, is something you'll hear voice teachers talk about a lot. We don't necessarily want it super shut out, but we do want it lifted. This is a sign that we're lifting the soft palate, we're accessing things up here. If we see these corners turned down, it means we're covering and it's going to end up getting heavier. So looking for this lift in the corner of our lips is something we can watch for. And again, you can go to a mirror, look for it now, see what you're doing, see what your tendencies are, and see what else is going on. You'll see here, upper two smile, relaxed jaw. She's just using from here forward like she's talking, not overextending here in the front, just keeping it really speech-like, but she's still open in the back, has that open ass space. If I had to guess, somewhere between 50 and 80% of a yawn. Probably right in this moment, a little more like 50 because it's a little lower in her range and she doesn't have to work so hard. And she's not trying to be loud. And it's relatively smooth, calm, consistent airflow. Really just easy. Easy. Visually, what I love here is that we have this stuff going on in the back with paint, right? It's just interesting. It's not enough to really distract us from her. It's still background, but it's enough to give us visual interest and to help us watch a process, watch something unfold. Something that's really important as a performer is to create an experience where the audience gets to watch a moment unfold, watch a process happen, watch a story go from A to B to C. What they don't want to see is a flat line, or to see it go up and down but end up basically back at the beginning, or just see repetition over and over again. We want to see progress and growth and change and development. This is something that she's excellent at doing and something that we're seeing here visually. The other cool thing that sets apart, now that we have this blue in the back, is that makes her white pop out all the more. Okay, higher, breathy at this point. We hear that extra white noise coming through. It's also not as forward, not as pingy, not as bright. If I had to say, that means that she's increasing the quantity of air and not increasing the vocal fold pressure coming together. The closure is not any firmer. So we get this breathy, aspirate sound. She's also pulling the placement back. So instead of being forward and speech-like, she's pulling it back into sending the sound either straight forward or even back this way a little bit. Why would she do that? Well, because it creates a softer sound. It creates a smoother sound with the bottom. One of the challenges of having a high voice is the higher the pitch, the more intense it sounds to the human ear. It sounds louder even when it's not. It sounds more emotional even when we're doing nothing different but changing the pitch. We have to be conscious of that so that when we go up to a higher pitch, if we don't want it to be more emotionally intense, we're just creating pitch for variety or to accent a certain word or something, that we have to find ways to diminish the effects of that higher pitch so that it doesn't read as intense and forceful as it can. My guess is here in the later, she'll probably get to a clearer place, maybe even more intense later on, but especially here at the beginning, going to this really intense, clear, high resonant forward place is probably not the best choice here in a pop song. And this is a really unique sound. You're wanting to get as many different sounds and colors as you can in your song that match what you're trying to express and communicate. And it just seems to match better with everything else that's going on. It gives us some ebb and flow here, but we've really not hit the big peaks and valleys of the roller coaster yet. We've hit a little bit, and we saw that. We saw her body respond to it. We saw it stay relatively calm, and then big movement showing us that this big contrasting section was coming up. That was awesome. And my guess is we'll probably see more. Don't know. Haven't watched it yet. Let's see what happens. Okay, this gesture, right? Awesome for two reasons, and it's something you can use today. First of all, the gesture started before the phrase by her eyes discovering what she was going to talk about. Then her hand came out, it kept moving, it never stopped, it never got frozen, and then she accented the moment she wanted to accent with her fingers in a final gesture. It wasn't a totally separate gesture. It wasn't la da da. It was a continuation of that same phrase and an accent in the body movement, which is so cool. We love it, right? It matches. That's something we can see someone doing if they're talking, and I don't know what you're talking about. That's not going to work, right? That's not what she's saying there, but you get an idea. But that's something we could see in everyday body language, and we understand that. We can connect it with that. We can communicate with that. What can you use from that today? Well, as you're singing, let your body move. Let it be expressive. Let it do what it wants to do. Pay attention to the moments where your body wants to stop or freeze, get tight, get tense, stop moving. Those are the moments that you have to be extra attentive and try to get your body to move during those moments to keep that voice free. If your body stops somewhere, even if it's in your hand, most likely that means something's changed. Something's got stuck and rigid in our breathing, in our vocal apparatus, or something there that's made the rest of our body lock up and go into kind of stress or tension panic mode, right? Even if we're not aware of it consciously. So we can reverse that by continuing motion with the rest of our body, and that will remind our body that no, this isn't a moment to stress over, get tight or tense over. It's a moment to keep moving with. It's just another part of everything that's going on. So we can use this stop gesture if we're in the middle of singing something that freezes as a diagnostic tool to identify and take a moment to look through our vocal mechanism and see what got stuck or rigid. We can also use it to unlock that by, if we keep our body moving. You could do it by walking around the room, dancing, keeping as much movement in your body as possible as you're singing. That will help unlock some of those tension parts if you just can't let it go.
밤샘 작업으로 update 흥미로운 이 작품의 진이 That's me, oh.
Back to the A section. Still get visual variety with the paint, some other stuff. She's obviously using her body and her face just like she's talking, and so that creates variety. But she's back to this minimal low level. She's brought us back down again to give us somewhere to go. So smart, right? She's not just keeping it this high intensity level all the time, both vocally or physically. She's giving herself a break to pull back. It's the lower notes, it's just easy, gives her a chance to rest. Then she'll hit the chorus again, and most likely it'll pop out, and that lets her body have a natural ebb and flow without having to keep this tension going all the time, or this stress, or this energy, this excitement, this whatever it happens to be. She's giving it variety and change, which is good for pacing.
네 관계의 climax 음악으로 넘어가게 지금이 그 타이밍 같은 마음인 걸 알아 Real la 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 나를 섞지 마라 Just la 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 조금 장난스러운 나의 눈에 네 해석이 궁금해
Notice where the placement is? Right here, right? You hear that buzzy, windy? If you were to get into her head when she first found that place, or if you took out her earpiece, she'd probably say in her head it probably does not sound good to her. It probably sounds whiny, buzzy, narrow, focused. But as she's singing there, she has an earpiece in, which gives her a more accurate representation of the sound, so she's able to hear what's really happening. But it also is just over time, you have to learn to trust that if you keep it easy here, it will be beautiful out in the room if you let that sound come out. She kept the teeth out, which kept it from getting too heavy. That vowel, though, in back is what pulled the placement back, got a little bit breathy, and we saw a little bit of tension pop out there for a second. Again, it's just the sound that we're talking about for a color. She's using a specific moment, so am I trying to say this is a bad moment? No, that's not what I'm trying to say. But in general, if we're going up there, that's a pretty dangerous vowel to use in the back. It's going to get us heavy, pull that placement back, and get it probably breathy and not quite where we want it to be. So if she wanted to clear it up and get it clean and clear and crisp up there, she would put that ah in the back, and I think you notice that alone would pop that sound a lot more forward, get a lot more clear. We lose the breathiness and gain clarity. The flip side of that is also increase intensity and probably be pretty intense in our ears, be really hard to balance on the board and make sound right. So in this moment, I think it's a deliberate choice. Could she keep it clean and clear? I think she has, because I've heard her sing clean and clear up there in other songs. And so I think it's just a deliberate choice and a color that she's choosing here. That one was clear. It was still an but it's a little more and back. You can see that shape change a little bit, and it got us that clarity, just like we were talking about. Huh. You can go through this whole thing and see that if she keeps this place and back, we get a clear sound without that breathiness, without that white noise. Once that disappears, so does the clarity, and it gets a little breathier. Again, it's not about is it right or wrong. It's about finding as many different sounds and colors as you can while keeping it easy here in your throat. If you can make the sound easy and comfortable here in your throat and do it all day long, then that's a sound that you want to keep for some time, someplace. You might say, well, how does it not sound like a mistake though? Because when I switch between registers, it sounds totally different. It sounds like a mistake. Well, she's doing enough consistently. She's keeping those top teeth out. That's keeping the sound consistent enough where it does sound like a decision and not a mistake. It sounds like it's on purpose. It also, there isn't this moment of instability or unsurety. That breath flow is staying really consistent. She's just changing placement and changing the balance of force and flow here. That gives us a different color. But again, if we change everything, if she changed everything going from bottom to top and totally reset the voice, it would sound like a mistake. But she's not. She's just changing 2 elements or so of that vocal quality to give us a variety in sound and to smooth it out a little bit. See the process unfolding here? We had a blank wall, started painting stuff, gets bluer and bluer. Now we have balloons in the background. Now balloons are then into the foreground, and there's balloons everywhere. There's just a visual progression and increase and change in process. This is so important for us to stay engaged, especially in a song like this that there's a lot of repetition. It would be so easy for us to just check out. And there's not a whole lot of variety in terms of what she's doing or what the band's doing in the back. It doesn't really call for a lot. She's doing enough. She's being expressive. She's connecting with the text. But again, there's a lot of repetition here. So one of the ways that they're helping make this experience engaging and giving more variety is by including these other elements. So without us even noticing, there's this feeling of growth and development and progress, and we're watching this thing happen. It's like a before and after shot. They're so satisfying because we get to see the process. So what can you do today with that? Go through and think, what is the process that this song goes through? What can I show? What's the entire experience? What can I use to really show a beginning, a middle, end, a process, things growing or changing or developing? Because if we don't, a song like this would just feel cyclical. Verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Yeah, the words would give us a clue, but it just feel like we're going in circles on a hamster wheel. But it doesn't feel that way as we're watching this because she's changing enough with her face, her expression, the words, it matches. She's giving us new nuance with her voice, but more so because of the process we're seeing happening in the back. Awesome. Other thing, smiling is important. When you perform, whether it's a sad, angry, happy song, not just technically this upper two smile thing, even if you're not singing, you need to find a moment to smile with your audience. Even if it's a sad, kind of melancholy smile, right? Find a moment to smile. You notice this moment where she smiles at us, it shows us that she's having a good time. She's not in duress. She's engaged. And a song like this is supposed to be fun and she's having a good time. It's even more crucial that she smile with the audience. If she just went into neutral mode or even resting face or whatever it happened to be, she'd lose us. We wouldn't believe it anymore. We'd disengage or just feel like one big lie. But she doesn't. That genuine smile that we get, it lights up the room, right? We as an audience are like, lean forward. We love watching people smile and enjoy themselves. And she's showing that she's just relaxed, having a good time. That lets us do the same thing. What's the vowel she's singing on there? Right? It's an but you'll notice it's in the back upper two smile in that. It's not So go look in the mirror when you're singing and see how often you cover your teeth with your lips. And notice how much you collapse in the back to an You want to keep that 80% of a yawning smile, that space, and that upper two smile as consistent as you can. I think you're going to notice if you do, it's a lot easier. You'll also notice, she's not punching stuff, right? She's keeping the smooth, connected airflow, where there's a little bit of air traveling fast. She's not punching high notes. She's not releasing low notes. Nice and consistent. Lovely.
K-pop 원더랜드 원더K에서 더 많은
course, it's over. So hope you enjoyed it. I loved it. I love watching her perform. I like how elegant she is and sophisticated while still being fun and energetic and expressive. She does it in a way that's economical, where she's really smart with how she's using her body and also really smart with how she uses her voice. She shows a lot of nuance, a lot of change, and it's just a really easy, pleasant voice to listen to. She's not manufacturing stuff. She's keeping things really forward for the most part, but giving us enough variety and color where we can listen to this voice and enjoy it and just in about any situation. It's just a really, really pleasant voice to listen to and a performer who's easy to watch and fun to watch. So if you want a voice lesson, a performance coaching, or want me to work with you or your group to help you sing easier, perform at a consistently higher level, book a time with me at mrperformingartstudio.com. You can also find me on wizio.com if you want to just send me a short video clip or audio clip for me to react to and give you feedback on. And I hope you don't forget to subscribe down below, click like, and I'll see you next time. Bye.